Hey, y'all, it's Casey Hope from Pzazz. We are here today. Going to do a fun little tutorial with you using some lettering. Y'all know we love lettering. We're going to do some lettering and then also some watercolor blending. And if you've never used a watercolor brush, I'm going to show you how to use these as well. They're really fun, really great for traveling. So if you're on the go, you can just have, your set of watercolors and everything is right there. So let me first go through the supplies that I've got, and then I'm going to kind of take you through just the how to use this watercolor set, and then we'll show you this little project. Also, just let me tell you this right now: if you're loving these watercolors, we are selling these this weekend only for $20. They are normally $30. This weekend only $20. So just letting you know that before we get going. It comes with all these pretty colors. All right, so first off, I'm going to move. This is kind of wet. I just painted this. This is what we're going to be doing in just a little bit, but it's a little bit wet. I'm going to show you how to letter it. I'm going to show you how to use that brush. I'm going to show you how to, blend the colors. But let me go over just this palette first on how to use this. So I've already put together this water brush. It's already together, but usually they come like this. They're going to be in I'll show you the whole get up here. So it's a little thing like this. You can throw it in your purse. However, you open it up, you've got your palette where you can mix your plate, and you've got your brush. Now, this is like a little water chamber. There's water already in here. I just filled it up in the bathroom, put it there, and it's ready to roll. Then when I'm ready to paint, I can take the little black part out. This is keeping it from spilling. Can take the top. So this comes with two different brush lids. So one is pointy and one is kind of flat. This one's the flat one. You actually have to screw it on backwards. So don't do it the way that you normally screw it on. You'll be fighting with it for a while. You screw it on, and then you've got your brush. So I've already done this one. We've got, I don't know if you can see, you've got a pointy brush and a flat brush. They both come with this. So you can paint with both of these. And then when you're ready to put it up, you can just take them apart, put them back in here. Really, you could leave it like this. Always, they do fit like that, but if you didn't want to mess up the bristles or whatnot, you don't have to. So let me go ahead. I'm going to show you just a few of these colors because if you're doing a project like this, you may or may not want to use the colors that I was showing you. So to use this, you're just going to kind of squeeze it. The way that the water from the chamber comes out is you just give it a little squeeze. So I've already used some of these this morning. So let's see the pink. I hadn't used it. So I'm going to squeeze. And there's a little water droplet that came out. I don't know if you can see, came out onto the pigment. Then I'll use my brush. I'm not squeezing anymore, and just kind of roll it around here, get that pigment. And this is just going to be a kind of a test paper. And you can see there is a little bit of that pink. Now it's a kind of a fluorescent pink. Going to wipe that brush off with the yellow. I've already got some water on that. And there's the yellow, nice and vibrant. To clean my brush, I'm just going to kind of wipe it off. If I want to squeeze some water out, I can squeeze some water out to kind of clean it. Let's see. We're going to be using the blues and the purples in a little bit. Let's go to some of the greens. Here's a green I'll squeeze. Then I'll just kind of rub it around in there. This is a nice green for if you're doing any kind of foliage or greenery. Sometimes you can get greens that are a little bit too primary type green, and I think this is a really pretty one, but it does have 3 different shades here. So 3 different shades of greens. So I'm just showing you this to show you the options on colors on what we're about to do this project. You can do all kinds of different colors. This is a great color palette. Also, if you've never played with watercolors before, you can mix your colors over here. So let's say that here's another green. I want to show you that green too because I like it. I'm going to squeeze. It's kind of a yellowy green. But do you see how just these different greens, if you're doing something with any sort of greenery, foliage, flowers, trees, and you want a variety of greens, you've got lots. But what I wanted to show you over here, let's say you have a color, but you want to dull it down just a little bit. You could squeeze, you can take a little bit of your red and just come over to any of your little palettes. I'm going to wipe it off. Then I'm going to take some of the white. I squeezed it, kind of wet it, and I'm going to bring it over here. I can kind of mix the two. This is how you mix those watercolors. And then you're going to have a little bit of a lighter shade of red. Okay, so you can use this as a color palette, and you can use, you know, you can just wipe it up whenever you're ready to close it. So that's kind of how it works. All right, so let's see. Amy says, I've noticed that my water pen picks the watercolor back up off the paper. How do I avoid that? That would be hard for me to say unless I'm looking at exactly what you're doing. So it could be that you don't have enough water, or you might have too much. Like if it's just watery and it's just moving around and it hadn't like got to the paper yet. So that's a hard question without me seeing exactly what you're doing with it. All right, so I am going to take this off and we're going to get started with our project. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is just letter, and I'm going to do You Rock. I chose that today just because we're close to Valentine's if you're watching this in real time, and it might just be a fun little message that you could do to a Valentine, to a kid, to a grandkid, somebody that you just want to let them know that, hey, love you and you rock. So here we go. We're going to letter that. I'll put it right in front of us so we can kind of look at what we're doing. Move all this over. All right, so we're going to write big. We want we're going to make these downstrokes in a moment, and we want to be able to paint inside of them. So if we do it too small, you're not going to be able to paint inside of it. So I'm going to do some big loopy letters. So here we go. There's the first part of the Y. Now, I love doing this with the Y. Whee! Like that. Okay, that's just fun to me. So that tail comes down and around and back and boop. All right, now for the O, I'm going to do kind of an exaggerated O there. And then our U. Okay. We're not doing any of those downstrokes just yet. We're just penciling this out. Then we are going to come with the R is going to fit up right here. I'm not going to try to start that R up under here. I'm going to fit that R right in here like a puzzle. I got my R, my O, and my C, and my K. I like to start it back here with that. All right, so I can see right now, these are a little too close. I'm going to go ahead and erase that just a little bit, tweak it just a smidge so they don't overlap too much. Okay, I think I'm gonna like that better. All right, so we've got our penciled in lettering. Now we are going to draw our downstrokes. Hey, Lisa from Kentucky. Hey, Kathleen. Glad y'all are here. And Kathy and Lauren. I'm glad y'all are all here this morning. All right. So now when we do our downstrokes, we're going to draw kind of shapes. But remember, we want to paint them in later. So we're going to draw them big so that we can paint them in. So I'm going to come here. And I'm just going to come over and down. And it's a very, it's a fairly large shape that I'm going to be able to paint in. Same for here. Now, this is a little tricky because I can see this R. So I don't want it to overlap the R. I'll come over and down. But I may also go back the other way. Like I went to the right, but I want it to be a little thicker. So I'm going to put some on the left too, just so that this shape is a little thicker. And then I'll just erase this line right here in the middle. So a lot of times we get the question of people asking us like, which side are you supposed to go on for the downstroke? Well, the answer to that is like either. So whichever way makes the most sense. So usually I will pick one side and I will stay on that side. Like I will always thicken the right side unless it doesn't fit. And then I go to the left side. So here you saw I went a little to the right, a little to the left to create that downstroke. Hey, Katie from Wisconsin. All right, so here I'm going to do another curve and a curve. That's thickening the downstrokes here, here, and here. I'm not going to do too much anywhere on the tail here. And I noticed I did put like a little bit of an opening up here, and I forgot to paint that in. All right, so right here, we'll do a little bit there and here. Just going to erase these extra lines. And again, I'm making sure that they're thick, thick shapes, thick enough for me to be able to paint in. there, and there. On the C, you might want to do anything on the upstroke, but right here on the downstroke, make that a little thicker. Okay, so there we have it. We have penciled out our phrase. We have thickened those downstrokes. So now I'm going to grab a black permanent marker, and here we go. I am just going to start tracing. Now, sometimes, like right here, I'm going to jump over that. Since this is a solid shape, I'm not going to have that line going through my solid shape. So there's my U, and there are my shapes. There's my R. Here is this shape. Good morning, Barbara. Love your enthusiasm. Barbara says, good morning, Casey. Love these watercolors and love this month's Happy Mail. I'm so glad you got it. I'm so glad I joined this group. I'm so glad you got that Happy Mail. Some people don't have it yet, but everybody should be getting it soon. All of our lettering club members, every single month, they get Happy Mail that goes along with our month's lesson. And this month, they got... I already told y'all. So they've got, I was about to say, should I not ruin the surprise? But our lettering and devotions booklet, this is, you can get this as a free download, or you can, on the checkout page, you also, right now, it is a very limited time. I've told y'all that before. We do have a few more of these that we can sell. All lettering club members got these, but the price will be going up on those just because it ended up printing ended up being a little more expensive than we realized. So for now, you can grab, go text the word me to 1-334-249-1818. And that will get you the download to our lettering and devotion book. And it has, lettering traceables in it, all that fun stuff. And then on the checkout page, for now, depending on when you watch this, we'll give you an option to purchase if you'd like to purchase it. But we hope to have them in our shop as well. They'll just be a little bit more expensive. All right, so there I have outlined. I have traced all the downstrokes. Now I'm going to put it up. Vanessa, happy birthday! Happy birthday! I'm going to erase all of my pencil lines, and then we're going to get started with our painting. I am on watercolor paper. So when you are using watercolors, you need to be on watercolor paper or mixed media paper or something like that. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to be using the, water brush pen. It comes with this. Remember, you get 2 of these in this little set. All of it, the palette, the 2 water brushes, everything it's $20 for this weekend only. But when you get this, you'll kind of play. I would just suggest playing with your brushes to see which one you like. For this particular project, I like the pointy brush. So I'm going to be using my blue over some of these blues. So I'm going to re-wet them, squeezing just a little bit of water. I'm going to be using some of the blues and purple, some cool colors for my lettering. Now I'm just touching that paper towel a little bit because I felt like I got a little too much water on my brush. That's why I touched the paper towel. So you see here, I'm just touching the water. There's a little bit of this puddle of water on top and then filling it in with my water brush. While it's still wet, okay, I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to come over here to the purple and I've got some water on it. While it's still wet, I'm going to take the purple, make sure there's not too much water, and kind of add it in to the blue. And it's going to kind of bleed and mix well because the blues and purples are both cool colors. You would not want to do this technique with colors that might turn brown together. But if you stick with cool colors or stick with warm colors, those look nicely blended together. So There we go. We have a little bit of the blue and the purple. Down here, I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to start with purple and then add in some blue. It's really, I'm going to add a little more water. It's really, once you just kind of start playing and mix and paint, y'all, you will hear us talk all the time about how art and lettering work in peace and play. And it's just the truth, especially to me, watching watercolors just blend together is very fun. It's just very soothing. And all right, so I'm going to come up here with some of these blues and squeeze, kind of get them a little more. Okay, this one right here, it looks like I got a little more pigment than I needed, not enough water. So I'm going to kind of wipe this off and squeeze and just kind of make a puddle of water over here that I can use to kind of blend. I could also come back in with the purple if I wanted to. Okay, so there I've got kind of my pinks and purples painted in, watercolored. I'll pull this up just a little bit so you can see what we've got so far. So far, this is what it's looking like. Now, I am going to add some of our warm colors in the background. So if you did warm colors for your lettering, do cool colors for your background. It's not like a have to. It's just a good kind of rule of thumb to make it pop. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of water onto my paper towel and kind of rub this around, make sure that it's a little bit clean. And then I'm going to start filling in the yellow and the orange. So I'm going to squeeze the yellow, squeeze the orange, squeeze this yellow too, kind of rub them all. All right, so here we go. We're just going to start kind of filling in shape. We are not going to touch the blue watercolor. Okay, so like if I'm inside this shape, I'm still leaving a space around my shape. I'm not going all the way up to the edge because they'll start to bleed together. So this is just kind of fun. I don't know. I remember as a kid in church, we would get the bulletin, and for whatever reason, I loved taking like my mom or my aunt's pen or pencil, and in every single O or D or P I could find, I'd fill it in. And so when I'm doing this, I very much feel like that similar thing of just kind of filling in the negative spaces. All right. Guess that was how I could figure out how to make it into a coloring page. All right. So, and you might be wondering, why am I jumping around? Well, I know I'm going to be putting some orange back here, and I just want it to kind of have a little bit of a haphazard look. I don't want it all to be one color. I want it to be all the warm colors, but I want there to be a variety of colors. It just adds interest to me. So I'm just kind of jumping around there. Squeeze. Anytime you feel like you're getting low on paint, just give it a little squeeze. And before this gets too dry, I'm going to get some of my orange and kind of inside some of this, just add a little orange. It'll just kind of bleed. As long as it's still a little bit wet, the orange will kind of bleed into the yellow and just have a nice fade. And then I'll just do some of these orange in some places too. I hope you can see how this could just be very, very meditative. It's a fun way to be creative without having to think of, oh, am I going to draw like a house or a tree or a, a whatever, you can just do some fun words, some words that you need to see, some words that you want in front of you, maybe some words that are for somebody else, that you can use your gifts and talents to encourage other people. But it's very, very meditative, just to letter and paint and look at colors mixed together. And I'm just kind of jumping back in between yellow and orange. I could throw some red in there too. I don't think I'm gonna, but I could because it's all the warm colors. Okay. When I'm swapping back to yellow from orange to yellow, I'm just going to kind of clean my brush just a little bit because that yellow is light. So I don't want to get it too dirty. And I'm just about done. So y'all can see this is just a fun little way um, to use your lettering, to use your paint. You don't always have to fill the whole page. And then let's see, I'm going to show you how to kind of pack it up. So let's say that you are taking this, you're maybe, we hear a lot of people saying like when they're having to possibly go to any sort of hospitals or doctor's offices or meetings or any downtime in carpool line or whatever. These are great things that you can just have on the go. So I'm about to fold it up and show you how easy it is to to pack back and to have it. So here's my brush I just used. I can well, honestly, you can leave it like this. If you want to undo it and put the lid on it, you can also do that, but it fits just leaving it like that. Take this, kind of clean this up. I don't, later on, if you're near a like a water faucet, you can like make it really nice and shiny and clean. Put it back on top, close it, and you're done. You've got everything here. If you've got a watercolor pad like I've got here, then you just, when this is dry, you fold that and you've got everything you need right here all together. Well, I didn't include this, so you might want a little pencil pouch too with your pencil and your Sharpie. But it's all right there. Easy access. If you want to do more art, more lettering in your life, and you maybe sometimes think that you just don't have the time, this is a great way just to know that, hey, sometimes getting all the stuff out is the hardest part. But if you can just have out your watercolors and your pad and just know, hey, you know what? I don't have to like have a huge setup. I put my water and my brushes. I've got my stuff. And then when inspiration hits, you can just play. So it's a fun way to get into the groove of lettering and painting and making creativity a part of your weekly, if not daily practice. So that is it for today. If y'all do this, be sure to show us what you do. Also, don't forget this weekend only. These are for $20. They retail for $30. And they are $20 this weekend. That means now until like Monday around noon, Monday at noon. So starting now when you hear this to Monday at noon, they are on sale for $20. And we put the link up in the description of this post. So that is it for now. Hope y'all have a good rest of your day. If you're watching this live, I will be on the Crayola page, the Crayola Facebook page in about an hour doing another fun little washi tape cupcake fun little project with Crayola markers and watercolor. So, all right, y'all. I will see y'all maybe in an hour. All right. See ya.